Hey everybody, welcome back to Nerd News Today. I'm Matthew, and on today's episode, we've got a book review of something that is very special to me. When I was a teenager, my comic book buying habits were definitely changing. At that time, manga was definitely more of a priority for me in terms of my reading, and comics in general were kind of on a pretty major downturn. This was in the era when Marvel was practically going bankrupt and on the verge of bankruptcy, and comics were just not that interesting, and we're also talking kind of pre-movie boom as well. So during that time period, my eyes were very open to all sorts of different types of comics. And yeah, as I mentioned, manga was one of the big ones for me, but I think one of the ones that truly cemented my enjoyment of that genre and made me look at it in a very different light was the book we're going to take a look at today. And this right here, this is a big boy. I'm so proud to show this thing off to you guys. This right here is Lone Wolf and Cub, and this is the Lone Wolf and Cub Gallery Edition by Dark Horse that came out in 2018. And yes, I'm a few years late to this one, and I regret that I am this late to it, but I finally got my hands on it, and man, I gotta tell you guys, this is gonna be a good one. If you're unfamiliar with Lone Wolf and Cub, it is one of the most influential manga series that has ever existed. And this comic series went over 8,000 pages from start to finish. And this was an epic that truly puts the word epic into epic. Now, if you don't know the entire history and story of Lone Wolf and Cub, I'm not going to go run that down for you. Maybe another day I'll do a whole video about it. But this series, which was written by Kazuo Koike and drawn by Goseki Kojima, whose names I'm probably butchering quite a great deal here, this is, like I said, one of the most influential books out there. And if you don't believe me, all you gotta do is take a look at Frank Miller, or take a look at Quentin Tarantino, or so many other creators out there who have used Lone Wolf and Cub as the basis for much of their creative work and inspirations. Now, the Gallery Edition books that Dark Horse has done and other companies have done as well, these things are amazing. And what they are the original artwork presented unedited in this original format here. Like this size of the book that you're seeing, this is the original size of the pages and then some. So if you ever wanted to pull back the curtain on how an original piece of comic book artwork looks, this is the way to do it. And I gotta tell you guys, for me, a Lone Wolf and Cub fan who's been buying these things since forever, you know, they've never been presented in a format as large as this. When I first bought Lone Wolf and Cub, it was in the first publishing format, which was like normal comic book size, maybe a little bit bigger. And that was really nice. And since then, Dark Horse has published versions of it as omnibuses, but they are so tiny. They're like maybe a sixth of the size of this book. They are horribly tiny, and they don't do any justice to the beautiful artwork in here that Kojima made. So getting a book this huge, this is really glorious. Like, this is amazing. I can just keep prattling on about this without even opening it, but no, this is a full-on review. So let's go ahead now and open up the pages here, take a closer look at this book, and you'll see why I'm raving about it so much. All right, and here we go. Here's our gallery edition of Lone Wolf and Cub. Now, I should warn you guys that unfortunately this book is huge. This is an enormous book. It does not fit completely with the way I have my camera set up. There's really not much I can do about that. It's just that big. And if you want to see how big it actually is, I mean, I got my ruler out right here, and see, it's about 12 over there. And yeah, we're basically talking like 15 inches or so, if not more. So yeah, unfortunately my view is not going to be super duper high here as much as I would have loved it to have been. So I'll have to do a little bit of this up and down thing. But so here we go. This is a gallery edition book. This is my first gallery edition ever. And yeah, just I want to flip it over to again, show you the spine. But yeah, just great images, man. We're already getting some treats here, and you can see the tone that they're using here, some of the zip tone. So I'm just gonna go ahead, open it up, start flipping through it. And I wanna mention, I guess we're gonna probably put it up here. So I wanna mention that the way I usually do these book reviews is I don't look at every single page. I'm gonna be flipping around because I kinda just wanna really give you a preview of what's to come in these books. And it's up to you to get them for yourself if you like them. Otherwise, you'd be reading it for free as I did this review. So let's just dive on in here. And so what you need to know about the Lone Wolf and Cub Gallery Edition is that it's really, for the most part, selections of different issues throughout the series. So, you know, whereas opposed to a lot of other gallery editions, they are usually, not always, but usually they can be like one or two specific issues or one specific issue. Depends on what it is. But Lone Wolf and Cub, like we mentioned, it is a sprawling epic of thousands upon thousands of pages. So that's what they're giving us here. They're giving us samples of the different pages. And as we're flipping through it, you're going to notice that you're not seeing double vision here, even though you are. So what's going on with this book is on one side, you're getting the English version of the pages, and on the other side, the Japanese version. And when I say that, what I mean is when the books were published in America for the first time, that would have been through First Publishing, they were all reversed. And the reason they were reversed was because in Japan, mangas are read from right to left, as opposed to here in America, where comics are left to right. So what they did was to make the storytelling, you know, more adaptable for American audiences, they flipped it. And that's a common thing in manga today. But yeah, so in this case, you're seeing it both ways, just so you can really appreciate and understand, what happened. And, does it really change the appreciation for anything? No, not necessarily, because, the dynamism is still there. But it's cool seeing it here. And, the fun thing about the gallery editions, too, is you can just really see all the work that went into these pages here. Because these are basically just originally straight up scanned raw pieces of artwork here. So I'm actually going to move this to the center for a little bit, so I want to spend some time on this page here. So the thing with the gallery editions is because they are the raw pages, you can see all the little different things that the artist did to create the artwork. And I feel like, unfortunately, the Lone Wolf and Cub might not be the best example of those, because I gotta tell you guys, these pages are clean. Like, man, I'm impressed by how clean Kojima's artwork is here. I mean, you're seeing all the brushwork here. You can see, this page probably is one of the better examples. So what you can see here is the brushwork. You can see some of the lettering, some of the characters that he actually would like cut and paste, or in this case, what he did here. Yeah, over here you can see with this bubble, you can see cut and paste his text there. But if we go over here, you'll see the onomatopoeia of the sword sound effect, and you can actually see the whiteout. It's not quite whiteout, but it's some kind of masking liquid in front of it here, so that it would cut through the boxes. And this is the kind of stuff that you don't see in the printed comic pages, because that's all kind of just flattened out into one thing. So you miss all these details. Like over here, for example, you can see how he did the snow effect. It's just, again, that same kind of masking liquid or white paint, whatever it might be that he used. That's how he did it. He basically drew the whole thing and then he added that. And the other cool thing too is, since you're seeing the original artwork really untouched, you can see just the way the brushwork was done here, the way it was inked. And man, like that's what I really wanted to see with this book, was the way things were inked. And especially with the sword fighting, I mean, that to me was amazing. And God, I love this bottom panel down here too, with their swords clashing. And you can see again the zip tone paper. Man, I definitely picked a perfect page to do this description part here, because you're really seeing why gallery editions are so great and why I love them so much. And there's other gallery editions about other comics that have like way more detail than just that. So, I guess I'll have to save that for another video if I do some more of these. But yeah, this is just really great stuff here. There's a rare color page also, because color is not really a thing they did. There we go, man. So I love this artwork too, because it's great just, number one, seeing it big, but number two, just like really appreciating more of what happened, and really how loose the artwork is too. Yes, there's a lot of rendering with all these different line work, all this hatching that's going on in here, but if you really look at the figures, you look at the portraits, they're all very loose and expressive. I was going to say gestural at the same time, so I kind of slur those words together, but there's a lot of expressiveness in the way these are done. And I feel like that's also, even to this day, kind of a rare thing in mangas. And this was very much a trend-setting kind of comic to do that, to create art in this way. Comics are very much a medium of speed, because you got to get these things out there, you got to get these things sold, so you got to work really quick to make a lot of stuff and hit your deadlines each month. So really, this artwork is amazing to me, because like it kept this great realism while also keeping the manga comic book spirit, and it's also just beautiful. And I mean, it's almost evocative too of the time that the comic's meant to take place in. And I've always loved that, and it's such a hard thing to capture, is like that sort of ability to be super realistic while also not at all. I mean, this is a great example of that. I mean, look at how loose this page is. And let's say compare that to like, I don't know, pick anybody from like the 70s or 80s. I mean, look at John Romita Sr. He would have been like maybe around here, the contemporary to him in America. Not saying they are comparable, but think about that style of artwork and look at this artwork. And just see the way he has just like little squiggles in here to create the tone of the fabric, and the way like the ground is done. Like, this is really cool stuff. And this is the stuff that you don't get to see if you buy the Dark Horse Omnibus books, because they're so damn small. So you're losing all that great detail. And man, there's a lot in here. Yeah, it's like a beautiful page after a beautiful page. And man, look at this. You can see like all the ink wash that was done on these pages. A sword fight from chapter 137. So yeah, hopefully you guys can see it here. On the bottom of each page, it does usually mention what story these are from. Oh man, here's a great one. Again, look at all the energy in this panel here. I mean, I think that's Retsudo, but I can't really tell. And look at that, like look at that slash that Ogami just took here. That blood splatter. It's just literally flicking his pen or his brush right across the page, but it's so effective. And it doesn't need to be drawn like, here's the blood. It's just the idea of blood, and that's enough. And it comes across in that page. Another really great page right here. Ogami stopping a sword with his bare hands. Yeah, I think we're getting close to the finale here, actually. So, spoilers, if you haven't actually read the comic, by the way, you might not want to keep reading this, but I'm sure if you're watching this, chances are you do know this book. I'll probably start stopping soon, just because I don't want to go too far into things and spoil the book at all, but I think we're heading into that territory as we get closer into this. Because while I said that earlier, there's not really too much chronological about this book here. There is one that is, and they do cover the last issue probably page by page, or at the very least, like the final battle page by page. So I don't want to keep going too much further, unfortunately, and that is happening about halfway into the book. So yeah, you know what? I'm going to actually pause right here. I'm going through this. We're going to go backwards again because no spoilers, folks. No spoilers. If you haven't read it, I really, really want you to read this book. I mean, that's why I'm just like telling you how much I love this thing, because I want you to enjoy it just as much as I do. And the gallery edition is a great way to do it. Now, granted, gallery editions are not cheap. I got this one here for under $100. If you find it in a store, you might be able to find it for cheaper. If you find it online, you might end up paying more. I got it from Amazon. I got a good deal on it. I got lucky. You might not always get lucky. So these are the kind of things you do want to be keeping an eye out for. But an important thing to note too is once they're sold out, they're kind of gone. Like, these are not necessarily reprinted. They're here and then they're not. So if there's something you like, you could wait a few months for a sale, because sometimes things will go on sale. In fact, they'll go on sale a lot on like IDW's website. Other times, when they're gone, they're gone. Those prices go way up. So that's why I finally took the opportunity to buy this. I just said I waited long enough. I want this. I'm going to do it. And looking through it, I have no regrets. I mean, look at that. Look at this page and tell me you'd regret buying this book just by seeing all of this. Yeah, this is like a breathtaking artwork here. If you don't have an artist edition, you should get some. And I should add also, by the way, this is a hardcover here, but IDW also does soft covers that are much, much, much cheaper. There's actually a great one that I might review here on this channel sometime soon as well, which is David Mazzucchelli's Daredevil run. They do the Born Again in this style, and that one is a thick one. I think we might do a review of that here, actually. So if you guys like this video, let me know, because I'd love to review more of these things and talk more about the artwork. And quite honestly, if you guys want me to go even more in depth, discussing the artwork and breaking it down, I'd love to do that too. So let me know what you thought about this video. Let me know what you think about artist editions. And if you have this book too, let me know how much you love it, because I'm sure you do. So that is our look at the gallery edition of Lone Wolf and Cub. It's a must-have. If you're a fan of manga, if you're a fan of comics, good art, I don't even know. I mean, I could keep saying so many different things that you are a fan of, but really, this is just an iconic book. And this whole gallery edition, these things are just perfect if you're a comic book lover, an artist, or just an art lover. I mean, these are must-have books. They will set you back a pretty penny, but they are worth it, and I think this is proof of it. So if you want to pick this book up for yourself as well, I'm going to have an Amazon affiliate link in my description below. If you pick up this book or any other books on Amazon using that link, it will help support this YouTube channel at no extra cost to you. So I hope you'll take a look at this book. If you get it, let me know what you think of it. And yeah, stay tuned, because we've got a whole lot more art books coming up soon on this channel. So until next time, I'm Matthew. This has been Nerd News Today. We'll see you guys next time.